WWE's relaunch of ECW in the 2000s fell flat of hopes and expectations. In this series, we've taken the reins and have led this brand into a new direction, one where Paul Heyman never left, RVD and Sabu never got busted, and many other scenarios that would have benefited the Extreme brand. 2006 and 2007 have held some big surprises already. What's in store for 2008?
Kicking off the first ECW episode of the new year, the debut of Kofi Kingston is made, beginning his career with a victory over Gangrel. In the next match, the Boogeyman is back in ECW action to take on Shelton Benjamin. The Gold Standard is accompanied by Elijah Burke, and after a display of his premier athleticism, is able to secure the victory here. Bobby Lashley cuts a backstage promo, stating that he is not going to be overlooked, vowing to win the Royal Rumble. In the main event, ECW champion Raven takes on Hardcore Holly in an Extreme Rules match. Raven had just emerged victorious from a grueling title defense to close out the year prior, and wasted no time to face his next obstacle. This was a hard-hitting, physical battle, and the champion seemed to be at peak performance. However, Hardcore Holly would come away with a surprising victory over the champion after Big Daddy V made his presence felt, sending a message to his Royal Rumble opponent. Over on SmackDown, Chavo Guerrero comes out on top in a fatal four-way between he, MVP, Matt Hardy, and Finlay to become the #1 contender for CM Punk's United States Championship. On the next episode of ECW, Tag Team Champions Rob Van Dam and Kid Cash are set for non-title competition against the New Brood. Kevin Thorne did his best to give his team the best chance of victory, but the champs would come out on top here. In the next matchup, Kofi Kingston continues to impress as he picks up another victory, this time over Stevie Richards, who is making his return after a lengthy hiatus. Test and Paul Heyman are seen speaking backstage, where Test is once again threatening Paul Heyman's well-being if Heyman doesn't place Test in a favorable position on the card. A championship match is made for the next week between Test and Marcus Corvon. Big Daddy V vs Rhino will headline the evening. As Big Daddy V inches closer to his title shot at the next pay-per-view, he looks to make a statement with not just a victory, but by inflicting extra damage after the match on the champion's ally. On the following Friday night, CM Punk and Kane team up to take on World Heavyweight Champion Edge alongside Chavo Guerrero in a bout that would prepare Chavito and Punk for their upcoming title match. This was a highly entertaining encounter that clashed champions against contenders. Both teams were aiming to build momentum, but in the end, it would be the world champion scoring a pinfall over the US champion thanks to a spear. The final ECW before the Royal Rumble opens to the scene of Raven annihilating Matt Striker backstage in an effort to send a message to Big Daddy V. Bobby Lashley returns to in-ring action by destroying Gangrel in singles competition. The former champion sent a clear message that he intends on re-establishing his dominance. Shelton Benjamin, accompanied by Elijah Burke, is set to go one-on-one with Sabu. These guys have been entwined with one another for the past month, and Shelton Benjamin is able to continue to ride the momentum he's been building as he secures another big victory in a highly competitive matchup. Marcus Corvon is set to defend his Hardcore Championship against Test. Test has been strong-arming GM Paul Heyman into title opportunities, and that continues here. These two would go on to put on a brutal match. Marcus Corvon's championship was at serious risk here, though the champion once again proves resilient and is able to stand tall after a successful title defense. In the main event of the evening, ECW is hosting a United States Championship match featuring Chavo Guerrero challenging CM Punk in an encounter with no disqualifications. This was a highly competitive match, with momentum changing hands throughout. While weapons were permitted, the two surprisingly left weapons out of the equation. CM Punk seemed to have control of the match until the newly packaged Major Brothers interfered and cost CM Punk the match, taking advantage of the no DQ stipulation, crowning Chavo as the new United States Champion. The Royal Rumble has once again come around, and ECW will be hosting an Extreme Rules match as Raven defends his championship against Big Daddy V, who has been destroying everything in his path during his ascension. Raven has been a fearless champion, and made it clear early on in this matchup that he wasn't going to back down. However, the champ may be in over his head, as this is literally the biggest challenge he has faced since making his return to ECW last year. While the threat posed by the challenger seemed insurmountable, Raven did not allow Big Daddy V to completely take over this match, and the champion ensured that he gave everything he had to bring down his colossal challenger. Big Daddy V sent Raven through a table, marking what seemed to be the end of Raven's title reign, until Raven continued to fight back, eventually hitting an even flow DDT on Matt Striker to keep the manager at bay. It wouldn't take much longer before Big Daddy V took a DDT of his own, and Raven would defy the odds, marking an incredibly improbable championship defense. To open up the next episode of ECW, Test is caught with Paul Heyman, once again making threats in order to receive a favorable push. Heyman grants Test what Heyman calls a huge opportunity next week. Kofi Kingston is looking to continue his hot streak here on ECW as he is set to go one-on-one with Mike Knox. The big man would put up a good fight, but Kofi would continue to roll as his win-loss record remained unblemished. Marcus Corvan is confronted by Elijah Burke and Shelton Benjamin backstage. The two mock the hardcore champion, teasing his reign will soon come to an end. We've got a huge 6-man tag team match up next. New United States champion Chavo Guerrero alongside La Familia lackeys, the Major Brothers, will butt heads against CM Punk and WWE Tag Team Champions RVD and Kid Cash. An exciting match was in store, as both teams displayed their abilities and the momentum carried would be exchanged throughout the match. Rob Van Dam would hit a big split-legged moonsault, and CM Punk was looking to gain some revenge on the man who took his US Championship, though Chavo would surprisingly turn things around, connecting with the Three Amigos and a 5-star frog splash, which would bring home the victory for the new champion. The main event of the evening has got the ECW champion engaged in tag team action against a couple of contenders. Raven and Rhino team up to take on Bobby Lashley and Snitsky, and it's clear there's still unresolved issues between Snitsky and Lashley. Their inability would be their downfall, as a few costly misfires would turn the match upside down. Bobby and Snitsky both inadvertently struck their partner, allowing Rhino to capitalize with a huge gore to end the match. While Rhino and Raven celebrated their victory, Bobby Lashley and Snitsky clearly have issues with one another. As the talent exchange continues with SmackDown, Shelton Benjamin and Elijah Burke make the trip over to represent ECW to take on Finlay in singles competition. The confidence of Benjamin and Burke is beaming as the Gold Standard picks up a convincing victory, kicking off ECW with Test entering Paul Heyman's supposed huge opportunity, though Test was less than thrilled to find out he's actually going one-on-one with the Great Khali. Test was faced with a colossal challenge, and was able to get away after hitting Khali with a chair, prematurely ending the match. Elijah Burke has a match with hardcore champion Marcus Corvan with the title on the line. Elijah Burke has been white hot as of late, working alongside Shelton Benjamin, but Marcus Corvan has been building a great deal of momentum on his own. It was tightly contested, and both of these men would put the other through some serious punishment, though in the end, Marcus Corvan would ultimately retain his championship. To headline the night, another brutal battle is in store as Snitsky and Bobby Lashley go toe-to-toe in a Falls Count Anywhere matchup to settle the grudge they've got against one another. In addition, the winner of this match will challenge for the ECW Championship come No Way Out. This was a highly physical clash of behemoths that featured two men who were willing to give it everything they had. The two took their differences to a brutal level of destruction and chaos, finding their way in and around the ring before the match would finally end after Bobby Lashley hit Snitsky with a devastating spear near the entrance ramp. Rob Van Dam and Kid Cash travel over to SmackDown to defend their WWE Tag Team titles against the Major Brothers. An entertaining match ensued as these two teams clashed. The Major Brothers have undergone not only a change in appearance, but attitude as well. RVD and Kid Cash were building momentum until the unexpected arrival of the Dudleys caused a distraction, one that would prove costly to the champions. Thanks to the pandemonium and distraction, the Major Brothers would be able to take advantage and capture the tag titles for themselves. This reunion of former ECW stars continued to sour, as the Dudleys laid into the former champions, brutally attacking them and leaving them beaten and battered. The next episode of ECW starts with extreme action between Rhino and Sandman. These two ECW originals brutalized one another in an effort to improve their standing on the card, though only one could emerge victorious, and that man would be Rhino, following a powerful gore. Matt Striker makes his return to weekly television since suffering a nasty, though likely justified beating at the hands of Raven, and he is furious with Big Daddy V for not only allowing that level of damage to be done to him, but failing to capture the ECW title at the Royal Rumble as well. Shelton Benjamin and Stevie Richards compete in the next match. Both of these guys are aiming to prove their worth in the title scene, and Shelton Benjamin's spotless record will certainly help him get noticed, as he picks up another victory here. After the match, Shelton Benjamin issues a warning to Marcus Corvan, stating that his title will soon belong to Benjamin. This would receive a strange look from Elijah Burke, despite the effort to hide it from his partner. RVD comes to the ring, demanding an explanation from the Dudleys. The Dudley boys make their way to the ring, and behind them, Paul Heyman. The ECW general manager reveals the Dudleys as the key to his latest initiative to evolve his brand. RVD expresses his disgust with Heyman, to which Heyman heeds RVD to be grateful, as he is still able to walk, which is more than what Kid Cash can say. The ECW champion has got his hands full in the main event tonight, as Raven has got to go one-on-one with the giant known as the Great Khali in a tables match. GM Paul Heyman put this match together in efforts to please Bobby Lashley by weakening his No Way Out opponent. The pay-per-view is in a matter of days, but the champion has got to focus on the monster in front of him if he intends on walking into No Way Out in one piece. Miraculously, Raven would send Khali through a table, securing the victory and setting his sights on No Way Out. deserved. And here we are at No Way Out, where Bobby Lashley will challenge Raven with the ECW title on the line. This is the first time these two have had the opportunity to go one-on-one since Raven took the title from Lashley at Survivor Series last year, and these bitter rivals are intent on beating down their opposition in order to establish who the real top dog in ECW is. The major contrast in styles between the rugged and aggressive Raven and the incomparable athleticism and power from Bobby Lashley is on full display, and this made for an epic contest. Raven's offense was relentless, and he never gave Bobby Lashley a moment to breathe, and the challenger was certainly not used to such a scenario where he wasn't in control. Bobby Lashley would then turn the tide of the match after a huge superplex sent Raven through a table, followed by a thunderous spear. However, Lashley seemed intent on making a statement versus just winning the match. Raven would reverse another attempt at a Dominator and ultimately put Lashley down with an even flow DDT, although the match didn't end there as the will of these two top competitors was too great to allow them to quit now. Raven would connect with another even flow DDT, but he needed to get Lashley into the ring to win the match. The battle continued until eventually Raven would put an exclamation mark on this encounter with a huge elbow drop through the announce table, resulting in Raven dragging Lashley into the ring and securing his ECW championship in a gutsy showing and a monumental victory. We're back on ECW, and Kofi Kingston is in action to open up the night as he is looking to continue his win streak against Hardcore Holly. Kofi Kingston has been an exciting addition to the ECW roster, however his exuberance naturally rubs Hardcore Holly the wrong way. Kingston was seemingly on his way to another victory until Holly would end the match prematurely by getting himself disqualified after using a weapon. Paul Heyman makes his way to the ring, accompanied by the Dudley Boys. The GM reintroduces the ECW originals as the enforcers ECW has needed all this time. The Dudley Boys highlight how ECW veterans have been chasing WWE accolades rather than enhancing ECW. ECW tag team titles are then revealed and promptly awarded to the Dudley Boys. Rob Van Dam would interrupt Heyman, demanding a match with his new enforcers, in which Heyman would oblige and inform him that he will need to find two partners to fight alongside him. In the next match, Hardcore Champion Marcus Corvan is paired with Stevie Richards to go 2-on-2 with Elijah Burke and Shelton Benjamin. The Hardcore Champion continues his display of raw power, bulldozing the challengers on his way to an impressive performance. However, the cunning of Elijah Burke and natural athleticism of Shelton Benjamin give them the advantage to secure the victory here after pinning Stevie Richards. The Dudley Boy Trio is going to headline the night by competing against RVD, Rhino, and ECW champion Raven. Thanks to the backing of Paul Heyman, the Dudley Boys have made an instant impact on the modern-day ECW, with their sights seemingly set on ECW original Rob Van Dam. The enlistment of Rhino and the face of the brand has leveled the playing field, and these 6 superstars put on a highly exciting match that would see RVD taken down for the 3 count. After the match, the ECW champion was blindsided when his friend betrayed him, as Rhino took out Raven, leaving the crowd speechless as the show came to an end. The next episode of ECW opens up with Bobby Lashley verbally attacking the ECW brand as well as the fans, claiming he has been screwed and is the only one who deserves to be at the top. CM Punk interrupts this tangent, reminding Lashley that there is a Money in the Bank qualifier for ECW, and lays the challenge to see who truly deserves to go to WrestleMania. To kick off the in-ring action, Shelton Benjamin is receiving an opportunity to challenge Marcus Corvan for the Hardcore Championship. The champion has had Shelton Benjamin and Elijah Burke breathing down his neck for weeks, and is once again challenged with a title defense in an Extreme Rules match. These two athletic anomalies put on a phenomenal match for the fans that featured athletic feats as well as cringing shots with weapons. As Benjamin was looking to wrap things up, Elijah Burke got in his way, causing a distraction from the ringside area that ultimately allowed Corvan to regain composure and end the match in victory with a powerful pounce. In the next match, Hardcore Holly is once again in action competing against another young superstar, this time by the name of Colin Delaney. The veteran takes control of the match, in which he never relinquishes. Holly brutalizes the young talent on his way to another victory. After the match, Hardcore Holly expresses his disgust with the crop of new superstars coming through the ranks, believing this justifies his attack on Kofi Kingston last week. The next segment has got the ECW champion, Raven, coming to the ring to discuss Rhino's actions last week. Raven expresses the betrayal from who he thought was his best friend, though it's clear Heyman's toxic vision has infected Rhino's perspective. However, Raven still offers to reconcile next week. The main event features 2 huge names on this ECW brand, competing for the chance to represent ECW in the Money in the Bank ladder match at WrestleMania. Bobby Lashley and CM Punk lock horns, knowing well what's at stake, a shot to compete at the grandest stage of them all. 2008 has not gone the way either of these two have planned so far, but a Money in the Bank victory could do wonders for the rest of the year. Another exciting match came about from these two, and the fans were hooked, waiting to see what happened next. CM Punk was gaining momentum, but took a spear out of nowhere that would keep him down, allowing Bobby Lashley to collect the win while punching his ticket to WrestleMania. We are less than 2 weeks away from WrestleMania, and the first match of the night consists of Test taking on the destructive team known as the Dudley Boys. Test intended on using weapons to fend off Heyman's goons, but the numbers would prove too powerful, and the trio would take out Heyman's former muscle. Shelton Benjamin confronts Elijah Burke in the back, looking for answers for what happened last week. Elijah Burke claims his innocence, and would even request Shelton Benjamin to watch his back in a championship rematch against Marcus Corvon later tonight, to which Benjamin would oblige. Kofi Kingston is back in action and is set to compete against Mike Knox. Knox is an imposing figure, but Kingston secures the victory here. After the match, Kofi challenges Hardcore Holly to an Extreme Rules match, eager to prove his grit. The final match of the night has got Elijah Burke once again challenging Marcus Corvon for the Hardcore title. Corvon continues to face steep and constant challenges as champion since he's on the wrong side of the general manager, making for an unpredictable situation. Elijah Burke was determined to unseat the champion, however Shelton Benjamin got even from Elijah Burke's antics last week and struck him down, marking an end to this alliance, though the match was not finished, at least until Marcus Corvon would take a flustered Elijah Burke down with a pounce, once again retaining his championship. The final segment of the night features Raven and Rhino coming face to face. Rhino states he's no longer going to be a sidekick, blaming Raven for his shortcomings. Raven used his unique charisma to shift Rhino's demeanor, admitting the fault in his action but claiming his own justifications, leaving the challenger clearly conflicted. Raven would embrace Rhino, showing forgiveness until he hit an even flow DDT, sending the message their friendship is over. In the opening segment of the next ECW episode, Bobby Lashley, presenting a different demeanor from before, expresses his intentions to win the Money in the Bank briefcase at WrestleMania and take the WWE by storm, stating how he has outgrown ECW, claiming it's full of losers. The first match of the night has Kevin Thorne back in action against the big ugly bastard Snitsky. This match was incredibly physical, as these two heavy hitters set their sights on one another. After exchanges of powerful offense, Snitsky would ultimately claim the victory here. Shelton Benjamin and Elijah Burke have been found in an intense argument. Things almost get physical before Paul Heyman informs the two that they'll both be challenging Marcus Corvon for the Hardcore Championship at WrestleMania 24, to which Heyman would add he expects at least one of them to take the title from Corvon. Rhino looks to gain some momentum heading into a huge WrestleMania showdown by taking on the Boogeyman. Rhino's aggression was on full display and the strange character couldn't do much to slow the challenger down. Rhino came away with a victory, and a brawl between he and Raven would commence after the match, needing to be separated. The main event of the final ECW before WrestleMania has got Rob Van Dam going one-on-one with Bubba Ray Dudley in an Extreme Rules match. The Dudleys made a huge splash in the modernized ECW at the expense of RVD. The former WWE champion has been adamant on keeping Paul Heyman as frustrated as possible in his efforts to take back full control of his company. RVD's fight was admirable, and these two would actually put on a very entertaining match, though the numbers against him eventually caught up to RVD, allowing Bubba Ray Dudley to secure a huge singles victory. We have made it to WrestleMania 24, the second edition of the Super Show featuring WWECW, and the Extreme brand has 3 matches to represent their style of combat. While this is not the biggest show of the year to the tribe of extremists, this is still the biggest show in all of wrestling. The first of those 3 matches is sure to set a tone as Shelton Benjamin and Elijah Burke will both be challenging Marcus Corvon for the Hardcore Championship in an unpredictable match, full of chaos. The match was fast-paced and full of resentment for the other competitors, as Marcus Corvon has been dealing with these two for quite some time, and now that the relationship between Burke and Benjamin has fallen apart, the volatility of the match has been ramped up even further. Shelton Benjamin continued his trend of a truly amazing physical feat at WrestleMania, and Elijah Burke nearly stole the match, though in the end, Marcus Corvon would hit a thunderous pounce on Elijah Burke, securing the Hardcore Championship once more for the alpha male. Later in the night, Bobby Lashley would go on to win the Money in the Bank briefcase in a hectic ladder match, giving Lashley the opportunity of a lifetime. Rhino challenges Raven for the ECW Championship in what has become an extremely personal contest after the former friend saw their relationship implode after Rhino set his sights on Raven's ECW Championship, aiming to get out of the shadow of the champion and establish his own identity as a major player in today's ECW. While the goal of championship glory is the driving factor for this match, it's obvious there's clear intent to cause as much pain and damage as possible. These two wasted no time to implement weapons into this battle, and Rhino gained the upper hand early. While the champion has shown resilience throughout his reign, constantly fend off opponents much larger than he, there's something different about an opponent with not just size, but a familiarity for the champion as well. It was a war of attrition between these two, as they continuously tried to outdo the other, failing to put their adversary away easily. Both the champion and the challenger were depleted, and the champion seemed to be defeated after Rhino dealt some serious damage. However, Raven refused to waver. The champion would fight back, delivering not just one, but 2 even flow DDTs that would keep Rhino down for the 3 count, allowing Raven to walk out of WrestleMania 24 still ECW champion after a gutsy performance. Leave a like down below if you want to see part 2 of 2008 be released as soon as possible. The first ECW following WrestleMania 24 is set to be a big one, and we're going to start it off with a few fresh faces going head to head. Braden Walker and Ricky Ortiz, bringing forth a new class of ECW extremists, are sure to make old heads of ECW proud. In a physical match, Braden Walker came out on top here. Big Daddy V is back in ECW after a brief hiatus, and looking to continue his dominance. However, he was in for a shock when he was smaller than his opposition, the Great Khali. These two giants traded punishing blows, but this was a stalemate until Big Daddy V decided to strike Khali with a chair out of frustration, ending the match without a definitive winner. The main event of the night features the Dudleys making their first defense of the ECW Tag Team titles against the duo of Rob Van Dam and Sabu in a tables match. The Dudleys have expressed their disgust in the current ECW veterans on the roster that have been busy chasing WWE accolades, as opposed to keeping the spirit of ECW alive. This table match will be controlled chaos in every sense of the term, as these 4, who are very familiar with one another, are going to do whatever it takes to punish the opposing team. Pure destruction and pandemonium took place in this match, though in the end, the Dudley boys would come out on top with their championships secure. The next episode of ECW is kicked off with Hardcore Holly competing against the Boogeyman. Hardcore Holly is looking to unleash some aggression in efforts to send a message to Kofi Kingston, foreshadowing what's to come to the Jamaican sensation. Matt Striker is seen backstage with Big Daddy V, seemingly attempting to calm the big man down to no avail. Shelton Benjamin makes his way to the ring, calling out Elijah Burke for turning his back on the gold standard. Benjamin promises to make Elijah Burke pay in an Extreme Rules match next week. The Dudleys are back in action, this time in singles action as Bubba Ray is set to go one-on-one with the Sandman. This was a brutal clash, reminiscent of the ECW of old, and in the end, the Dudley brothers stood tall in victory. Rhino is back in the main event, and looking to prove his WrestleMania loss was a fluke here in this non-title WrestleMania rematch. The ship has sailed on this friendship, and these two deliver another brutal contest, sparing no expense to put the other down. While Rhino reset his sights on the champion, Raven once again came out of this encounter on top. The next episode of ECW opens up with a backstage confrontation between Marcus Corvan and the Dudleys. The Dudleys cite Corvan's refusal to join Heyman's crew last year, warning the hardcore champion that Paul Heyman has not forgotten. The fearless champion then exclaimed they know where to find him if they're looking for a fight. Hardcore Holly and Kofi Kingston share the ring in the first of multiple Extreme Rules matches for the evening. The rugged nature of Hardcore Holly has detested Kingston's enthusiastic presence since his arrival to ECW, and is looking to permanently wipe the smile off the newcomer's face. These two would put together an exciting performance that would have Kofi getting one over on the disgruntled veteran. The next segment features Elijah Burke cutting a promo. Speaking to his former friend Shelton Benjamin, Elijah Burke rejects the notion of a match this evening, stating it will come on his terms. Elijah Burke expressed that he never forgave Benjamin for his actions in late 2006, and the gold standard has had this coming since his return to ECW. Matt Striker is in the ring, speaking to the crowd. Striker reminds the crowd of the power that his client Big Daddy V holds. Feeling words were not enough, Striker had planned a demonstration as new talent Colin Delaney was sent to the ring as a sacrificial lamb. The main event has got the hardcore champion Marcus Corvan once again defending his championship. This time, Devon Dudley is the one looking to take the title. Marcus Corvan held nothing back when bringing the fight to the veteran, and quickly showed why no challengers have been able to knock him off yet. The Dudley brother is resilient, and it showed as he continued to get up after absorbing punishing blows and impactful offense. It was clear Devon wasn't going to be able to take care of business as he thought, resulting in the interference of Bubba Ray. A 3D would seal the fate for the hardcore champion, and Devon would have his hand raised in victory to end the show. More newcomers in action here on ECW. This time, Ricky Ortiz has been given the daunting task to face off against Big Daddy V. This match would go how you'd imagine, but the surprise here would come when the Great Khali would make an appearance, delivering a devastating blow to Ortiz. Cameras have caught up to Hardcore Holly backstage, who is seen brutalizing Kofi Kingston, showing his rage over taking a loss to the enigmatic rookie. ECW champion Raven is set to take on Spike Dudley in the next match, and of course, this one will be held under Extreme Rules. Raven began the match in total control, and would maintain control for most of the contest despite bursts of offense from the former Brother Runt. However, the Dudleys didn't hesitate to take advantage of the stipulation, as this match quickly became a handicap match. Despite the champion putting up a fight, the numbers were too much, and Spike Dudley would come out of this match with a surprising victory. An extremely bitter battle of rivals is set to commence for the main event, as Shelton Benjamin and Elijah Burke have finally got the opportunity to clash with one another. Personal animosity has propelled the creation of this match, pitting two men with a checkered history back into the ring with one another, mano a mano. Elijah Burke has never gotten over losing to Shelton Benjamin at the end of 2006, leaving him stuck on ECW while Shelton Benjamin went on to return to the main roster. Upon Benjamin's return to ECW, Elijah Burke's resentment was rekindled. Despite taking advantage of the backup, a brief alliance was formed which would present the two with title opportunities. The remorseless Elijah Burke and the unwavering Gold Standard would deliver a slobber knocker here, with Shelton Benjamin emerging victorious. The next show begins with Rhino speaking with Paul Heyman, planning their next move. Rhino asks Heyman to give him another title shot, to which Heyman would reject, and informs him of another plan in place that will be revealed later in the evening. The Great Khali is in action against Braden Walker to kick off the in-ring competition. Khali dominated this match, quickly dismantling the rookie. After the match, Stryker and Big Daddy V would make their way to the ring, giving their input to Khali's opponent, much like Khali did last week. However, these two giants have seemingly joined forces as Stryker celebrates, posing a frightening threat to the rest of the ECW locker room. CM Punk is in action up next against Hardcore Holly. CM Punk doesn't agree with Holly's aggression towards Kofi Kingston, calling out old Sparky Plug's jealousy of the new stars in ECW, leading to this match. CM Punk was building momentum, however a frustrated Bob Holly would take out not just the ref, but CM Punk as well with a couple of wicked chair shots, allowing Hardcore Holly to continue his streak of brutality. The main event of the evening has got the new Hardcore champion, Devon Dudley, defending his title against Rob Van Dam. This match of course was under Extreme Rules, and a brutal back and forth was underway. No expense was spared to damage their opponent in this bout. Devon elected to take this match on his own, as if he wanted to prove his capabilities as a singles competitor, though this may have been unwise as Rob Van Dam took control of the match, setting up for a 5-star frog splash and a victory, becoming the new Hardcore champion. After the match, Paul Heyman makes an appearance. He would congratulate RVD on his victory. However, he stated that this was a non-title contest, considering the Hardcore Championship had been disbanded earlier in the afternoon. Devon is in fact a champion, but he is the ECW television champion, which was not on the line here. RVD and the fans couldn't believe it. But Heyman was not done. The ECW general manager continued, announcing Raven's next challenge. He has handpicked 3 justified contenders, and given the success of Bubba Ray, Devon, and Spike Dudley, Paul Heyman sees it fit for Raven to defend his ECW championship in a fatal 4-way Extreme Rules match next week. Paul Heyman notes that this match would have taken place tonight if Raven were medically cleared to compete, and the Titantron would then reveal Raven, who has been attacked backstage. Another huge episode of ECW is in store, and to start the show we've got Rob Van Dam calling out the injustices of his title match last week and demanding a rematch. However, this rematch would not happen as RVD is slated to take on Rhino in the first match of the night. This encounter was highly physical, with both men focused on causing as much destruction to the other as possible. RVD would come away with the win, building more frustration on the part of Rhino. The next match has got Colin Delaney going one-on-one with the Great Khali. The youngster Delaney never had a chance as the Giant imposed his will en route to a victory. The main event of the evening has got Raven defending his ECW championship in an alleged fatal 4-way against all 3 of the Dudley brothers. Despite the free-for-all stipulation, this match showed a collective effort from the Dudley boys to dismantle the ECW champion. The Hardcore brothers took their turns brutalizing the champion, despite the resilience shown by Raven. A new champion was sure to be crowned, at least until the interference by Rob Van Dam and Sabu would give Raven a chance. An extreme skirmish had broken out, and the ref had officially lost control, as if he had any to begin with. In all of the commotion, Raven would hit Spike Dudley with an even flow DDT to somehow survive this steep challenge, ending the night still ECW champion, as the Dudleys looked on in disbelief. Paul Heyman opens the next show in the ring, calling out Raven for thinking he's escaped his wrath. Heyman announces that Raven will be defending his ECW championship this Sunday at Judgment Day, against a competitor that will be revealed in tonight's main event. The first match of the night has put two fierce competitors, who are desperately in search of a victory, against one another as Rhino and CM Punk clash in singles competition. After a hard-fought match, it would be Rhino to pick up the win while CM Punk collects another loss. The next match has got young Colin Delaney seemingly brought to slaughter as he is forced to face the monstrous duo of Big Daddy V and the Great Khali in a handicap match. The two giants would destroy Delaney until an appearance from the big ugly bastard we know and love would bring aid to the rookie. Snitsky was fired up, but the Giants would be forced to retreat. No rest for the ECW champion, as Raven is back in action, this time against Sabu in a highly physical encounter. While Sabu may not hold any direct resentment towards the champion, the high-flying maniac shows mercy on nobody, making for a tough situation Raven must fight out of. Sabu put up one hell of a fight, but the champion would ultimately stand tall in this contest. After the match, the Dudley Boys would once again come out and dismantle the champion, sending him through a table once more and revealing the title match for Judgment Day, Raven vs. Bubba Ray Dudley in a tables Iron Man match. Judgment Day has arrived, and ECW will be taking part with two title matches in the evening. The first featuring Devon Dudley defending his ECW television title. Rob Van Dam has been granted one final shot to not only take the television championship out of the Dudleys' grasp, but also avenge his fallen partner, Kid Cash. These two would present a bitter, physical match that highlighted the extreme nature of the ECW originals instinctively go to battle with, as carnage was spread across the ring and ring area. Spike Dudley would attempt to sabotage RVD. However, Marcus Corvon would come out and prevent any foul play. The distraction still proved costly as RVD's focus was hindered for just a moment, and Devon would be able to take advantage and wrap up his first real title defense. It's time for the ECW title match, which is sure to be monumental. Bubba Ray Dudley will step to the champion Raven in a match WWE ECW has never seen before, a table Iron Man match. As soon as the bell rang, these two went at one another with reckless abandon. The Dudleys' sheer disgust for what ECW originals have done to themselves, sacrificing their dignity for commercialized WWE glory, has driven them to the point of total annihilation of whoever crosses their path. The chaotic environment was welcoming to both of these guys, and one of the most destructive matches we've ever seen in a modern-day WWE ring took place. Every piece of furniture in the arena was in danger of being used as a weapon, and with ECW's grandest prize on the line, these men were willing to go through hell to be the face of the brand. This match shared momentum as Raven and Bubba Ray Dudley took turns throwing the other through tables, and as this match began to wind down, time was running out. Raven was down a point and desperately needed to make something happen, though that's when more Heyman shenanigans took place. Paul Heyman and Rhino made their way to the ring, and while Raven tried fighting them off, the numbers were too much, and eventually Raven was once again dismantled, which would put a nail in the coffin as time ran out, crowning a new ECW champion by the name of Bubba Ray Dudley. It's a new day in ECW as the new champion Bubba Ray Dudley makes his way to the ring. Bubba Ray makes an announcement that he will be awarding his half of the ECW Tag Team Championships to his brother Spike. This would make each member of the Dudley trio a champion. The first match of the night would feature Matt Striker going one-on-one with Colin Delaney. Given recent actions, Delaney is doubtful Striker has any intentions of an honorable match, but nonetheless, the bell rang and the match began. This was a surprisingly competitive contest, but not before long, Big Daddy V would make his appearance. Delaney's hesitance to continue was apparent until Snitsky's music hit. However, instead of Snitsky at the stage, a video is played of Khali taking Snitsky out, meaning Delaney is on his own in this one. Big Daddy V would lay out Colin Delaney, leaving Striker to pick up the pieces and the win in cowardly fashion. Hardcore Holly and Rhino are set for tag team action going up against the team of Kofi Kingston and CM Punk. This was an exciting contest between two teams that contrasted the other drastically. Hardcore Holly and Rhino's insufferable attitudes have bred into aggression that was made evident in this match. Kofi would hit a Trouble in Paradise on Rhino to end the match, which certainly won't improve the morale of the disgruntled veterans. Raven and Rob Van Dam are set to go toe-to-toe in a battle of extremists who were unsuccessful in their championship matches this past Sunday. With very little turnaround following brutal matches, they are once again in the ring, in an Extreme Rules match at that. However, this punishment would not go without compensation, as the winner would receive the next shot to challenge for the ECW Championship. Raven was determined to regain his title, while RVD has had his hands full with the Dudleys since their arrival. and taking the ECW championship from them would make for great revenge. These two held nothing back, and gave the fans another hard-fought contest to enjoy, and in the end, Raven would deliver an even flow DDT to secure his victory and another shot at the ECW championship. The next episode of ECW opens up with Raven requesting his ECW championship rematch given his victory last week. Paul Heyman, speaking on behalf of champion Bubba Ray Dudley, informs Raven his title match will come at One Night Stand in just a few weeks. Heyman also warns Raven to be careful of what he wishes for and not to be too eager for this match, as a loss for Raven means he will be forced out of ECW, explaining the Dudleys' eagerness to crown a #1 contender last week. Former Hardcore champion Marcus Corvan is back in action as he is set to go up against the Boogeyman. Marcus Corvan has been deliberately kept out of action as per Paul Heyman and the Dudleys, but he's got the chance to make an impression that can't be ignored with a convincing victory. The alpha male does just that and demands the attention of the general manager, to no avail. In a backstage segment, Spike Dudley and the Sandman are seen speaking backstage, with the Dudley Boys seemingly attempting to recruit the ECW original. Rob Van Dam is back for more singles competition, this time going against Elijah Burke. Rob Van Dam continues to be sent through the ringer week in and week out with no time to catch his breath. However, he does not seem to mind as Mr. Tuesday Night is focused on getting the Dudleys back for the issues they brought upon him as of late. RVD would secure the match with a frog splash and once again call out Devon Dudley, seeking his television title rematch. In the main event, the ECW tag team titles are on the line as Devon and Spike Dudley are challenged by ECW originals Sabu and the Sandman. The Dudleys have shown no allegiance to any of the ECW originals, and certainly show no discrimination when it comes to beating up on the members of the roster, who the Dudleys feel that everyone left has sold out and forgotten what the original ECW was all about. Sabu and the Sandman presented a tough opposition. Tensions were apparent as Spike Dudley reminded the Sandman of their conversation earlier in the night, which Sabu became suspicious of. There was a bit of disconnect between the ECW originals, and the Dudleys would be able to take advantage and secure the tag team championships, leaving some serious doubt between the longtime veterans. The next week begins by featuring a coalition of rookies looking to take down Matt Striker's monstrous duo. Ricky Ortiz, Braden Walker, and Idol Stevens have band together to avenge fellow rookie Colin Delaney in a 3-on-3 tag team match. Collie and Big Daddy V enjoyed the enthusiasm they were able to take away from the rookies, as the newcomers were clearly in over their heads, as they were severely outmatched and overpowered here. Matt Striker didn't even need to break a sweat before he would vulture the pinfall and end the match. A brawl between Kofi Kingston and Hardcore Holly was caught on camera as the two are clearly still at odds and unable to coexist in the locker room with one another. Hardcore Holly would walk away from this one on top, declaring Kofi Kingston will suffer the same fate as Al Snow last year. The Gold Standard is back in action here on ECW, as he seems to be one of the few guys who have not been caught up in all of the chaos surrounding the brand. A one-on-one match between he and the alpha male Marcus Corvan was a display of supreme athleticism and power. These two would put together an impressive performance. However, the match would be cut short when Rhino interfered, taking out Marcus Corvan and sending a message to the alpha male. Raven is in the ring, cutting a promo and speaking directly to the crowd. Raven acknowledges he may have his last match in ECW in just a few weeks, but encourages everyone not to believe in the facade the Dudleys have presented, citing their fake outrage and claiming they are going to show their true colors soon enough. The shift in atmosphere was palpable after this strange, prophetic statement. The main event of the night brings Sabu and the Sandman in extreme action. While no physical confrontation came from these two last week, Paul Heyman sees it fit to put these two in the ring together to navigate any potential issues. As this match went on, the Dudleys would spill into the ringside area, one by one, raising the tension in this match. The uncertainty of where the Sandman's allegiance lies created rifts between he and Sabu, and they were only heightened with the Dudleys' presence. This match would come to head when the Dudleys finally got involved, creating the avenue for Sandman to steal the victory, which he would in fact take advantage of, leaving the fans shocked at his decision. However, the Sandman turned the tables on the Dudleys as well, when he took out Devon with a kendo stick and aiding Sabu as the two originals left the ring area. The final episode of ECW before One Night Stand is set to get started with Matt Striker going one-on-one with Ricky Ortiz, who clearly is not 100% following the events of the week prior. In an act of confidence, Striker signals Collie and Big Daddy V to go to the back, an uncharacteristic move for the cowardly educator. Ricky Ortiz knew his time in ECW may come to an end soon if he didn't make an impact, so he refused to roll over here despite coming into this one with injuries. Without Stryker's backup present, Snitsky took his opportunity to interfere here, aiding Ricky Ortiz in putting down Matt Stryker before his cavalry could arrive. The next match of the night has Spike Dudley going one-on-one with Rob Van Dam. Spike Dudley seems significantly less confident in the ring tonight, as it seems he wasn't aware this match was in store. Rob Van Dam would win the match decisively, making notions around his waist in anticipation of a title match. After the match, Devon and Bubba Ray would catch up with Paul Heyman, questioning why Spike had to go out there and compete. The tension is clear and Heyman is nervous, regretfully informing Devon that he not only will be defending his title at One Night Stand against RVD on Sunday, but that's only if he comes out on top against the Sandman, which is tonight's main event. The Dudleys are rather angry with this notion, and Heyman claims he thought that's what they wanted, and that it's too late to change anything. This would bring forth the main event, which is in fact the Sandman's opportunity to take down Devon Dudley and take the television title. Devon made his way to the ring with a surprised look, baffled he's even set to compete tonight. This would not keep Devon from coming at the Sandman, as the ECW original turned down the Dudleys' offer to join their hostile takeover of the modern-day iteration of the brand they all helped become relevant. The Sandman was determined to come out on top here, and made this evident as he was on his game in this one. Determined he may be, but Devon Dudley was still able to pull out a victory, successfully defending the championship. We've arrived at ECW One Night Stand, one of 2 ECW exclusive pay-per-views that remain in our universe. We are set to get the night started with a tag team match featuring unlikely allies across the board, as resident Big Ugly Bastard Snitsky is teaming alongside rookie Colin Delaney in attempts to take down the massive and monstrous duo of Big Daddy V and the Great Khali, with no disqualifications. While the 2 giants assumed this was going to be an easy paycheck, Snitsky was determined to bring down the behemoths with the aid of Colin Delaney. And after trying to get involved, Matt Stryker even received a bit of backlash. Understandably, Colin Delaney wasn't able to administer much damage to the plus-sized adversaries, but Snitsky put his power and dominance on display. And with just enough backup from Delaney, these 2 would take advantage of a variety of weapons, and Snitsky would lead his team to a huge victory to open up the evening. A bitter battle is in store for the next match as Hardcore Holly plays host to an ambulance match at this event for the 2nd year in a row, this time against youngster Kofi Kingston, who has been getting under the skin of the disgruntled veteran ever since his debut earlier in the year. Despite Kofi's friendly and outgoing demeanor, he is focused in the ring, and we would even see a new, more extreme side of the Jamaican superstar come out here. However, Hardcore Holly wasn't going to lie down for Kofi or make things easy, as he displayed a level of aggression that defined what the new ECW is all about. These types of matches typically end up becoming all-out brawls, with little regard to implementing many grapples. Kofi instilled optimism for the next generation though, as he showed no quit or hesitancy in this match whatsoever. This was more of a fight than a wrestling match, but Kofi Kingston would eventually gain the upper hand and beat Hardcore Holly down enough to throw him in the ambulance, lock him in, and send him off, ending the match in victory for Kofi Kingston. Another grueling battle is in store in the next match, as Marcus Corvon and Rhino are ready to settle their issues, this time trapped within a steel cage. The bell rings, and immediately, Rhino and Marcus Corvon charge at each other like 2 bulls colliding in the center of the ring. The impact shakes the ring as they lock up, with neither man willing to give an inch. Corvon uses his raw power to keep Rhino down, but the man-beast fires right back with powerful offense, utilizing the environment encasing these 2. The aggression in this matchup never wavered, and the bad blood between these 2 is evident. Marcus Corvon blindsided Rhino, and this allowed him the space to get his ass out of that cage, securing a big victory after a physical match. Rob Van Dam is found attacked backstage ahead of his television title match with Devon Dudley. The footage was shown and Devon then proceeded to make his way to the ring, looking extremely confident, but would claim the innocence of he and his brothers, expressing a bit of disappointment for losing the opportunity to take out Rob Van Dam himself. CM Punk would then make his way to the ring, ready to fill the spot of RVD and eager to challenge Devon for the championship. Devon would accept, and the match commenced under Extreme Rules. It didn't take long for this contest to develop into a full-blown fight, filled with unforgiving shots and reckless intent. The Dudley Boys quickly sent a message upon their arrival by capturing all the championships available, and transitioning the Hardcore Championship to reintroduce the ECW Television Championship. CM Punk and Devon were determined to take the other down, and Devon's lack of hesitancy to compete in this match leads me to believe that maybe the Dudleys truly had no hand in the attack on Rob Van Dam. After a hard-fought battle, Devon would come out on top here with a successful championship defense. Another Extreme Rules match is set for the main event, as the stakes are the focus of this match opposed to the stipulation. Raven and Bubba Ray Dudley will not only be competing for the ECW championship, but if Raven loses this match, he will be sent out of ECW. While the champion Bubba Ray Dudley's spot on the roster is not at stake here, losing the championship back to Raven would be considered a total failure of their efforts thus far. The match was intense, and these two held absolutely nothing back from one another. Two top-tier competitors with the intent to severely damage their opponent made for an exhilarating contest that could truly go either way. The champion, Bubba Ray Dudley, was ruthless with his offense and would never let up throughout the match, although the challenger Raven proved why he became champion in the first place and delivered a truly gutsy performance in the face of a real threat to his career. The refusal to give up from either competitor amplified the intensity of this encounter, making for an extremely volatile match that felt like it could end at any point. This was a grueling battle that, despite the visceral use of weapons, would actually end in a clean conclusion, after Bubba Ray Dudley would put Raven down for the final time, ending his tenure in ECW, while Bubba Ray continues his championship reign. This is just the beginning of 2008, but this will be the first stopping point. Run up the likes on this video to see the second half of the year released as soon as possible. Thank you to all those subscribed to the Real One tier on Patreon. You guys are awesome and your support is greatly appreciated. Thank you to all of the other Patreon members as well, and for everyone else, thanks for watching, and I'll catch you in the next video. Take it easy.